Now we will turn to a few secondary sources. I'm going to focus on citing to books and journal articles. But remember, secondary sources is a catch-all term that means anything that isn't a primary source of law in the area of law that you are practicing. It isn't just books. This can include things like blogs on websites, encyclopedia and dictionary entries, and specialized sources like restatements. Remember that citations can be a way to demonstrate that your argument is backed up by persuasive law. In your first year of legal writing and research class, you may have been told never to cite to a secondary source in a legal document. That is generally true, but there are some secondary sources that judges and attorneys find persuasive, such as restatements or a particular treatise. In a law review article, much of your research will be in secondary sources, some of which have unusual citations. So our focus is on Rule 15 and B15 in the blue pages for books, and Rule 16 or B16 in the blue pages for periodicals. At first glance, these two types of sources may seem very different, but sometimes it's hard to tell what a source is when you look at it on the shelf. Compare American jurisprudence, which is cited as a book under the special citation forms of Rule 15, and American law reports, which is cited as under Rule 16 as a periodical. They are both bound print sources published by West that come in a series and sit on the shelves in our library. Once you look at the citation, it is more obvious that these are different types of sources. American jurisprudence, which we often call AmJur because of the Bluebook abbreviation, is an encyclopedia of American law, so it falls under Rule 15, the same way that a dictionary or treatise would. The American Law Reports, on the other hand, contains articles that analyze a case or legal concept in depth. It is updated much more often and is therefore considered a periodical. Books and treatises are among the easiest resources to cite to in the Bluebook. For most sources, you will only need the name of the author, the title of the book, the page you are citing, and the year. You may omit the editor and translator if there isn't one, and don't need to include the edition unless there have been multiple. The same goes for the publisher. Unless there have been multiple publishers, including the name isn't necessary. This rule makes sense if you think about what it is you are trying to do in a citation. Give just enough information to your reader to be able to locate the specific book you are looking at. If there is only one version, then the author, title, date, and page are all they need. If there are multiple publishers or editors, then you need to start getting more specific. Other citation methods you may have used before, like AP or MLA, tend to provide more information because they are less concerned about saving space in a paper. A quick side note about the small caps. You'll notice that the author and title in a book are done in small caps in the white pages. You'll only use this in footnotes, not in legal documents in your first year of law school. You can check or uncheck small caps under Font in Word when you're citing. In legal documents, use normal type and capitalize according to Rule 8. Periodical materials encompass law review articles, newspaper articles, and annotations like American law reports. Citing to an article requires a little more detail than a book citation because there is so much more material. These are generally published daily or weekly, so it takes more information to pinpoint where in the source to find it. You need the author or authors' names, the full title of the article in italics, the volume number, the abbreviated title of the journal or newspaper, the page number the article starts on, then the page or pages you're citing to, followed by the year of publication in parentheses. In the case of a newspaper that publishes daily, you'll need the full day, month, and year the article was published. We will talk more about citing to online newspaper articles when we talk about electronic sources. Just keep in mind that you'll need to check Bluebook Rule 18 for online sources. For both book and article titles, always remember to capitalize according to Rule 8. You generally capitalize each word in a title. The only words that are not capitalized are articles like a or the, conjunctions like and, or but, and prepositions of 4 or fewer letters. Regardless of this, always capitalize the first word in a title and the first word after any colon. So let's face it, most of the time you are doing writing and research in front of the computer, so this is what you're looking at. However, you need to be very careful relying on the citations the commercial databases give you. Check out what happens when I copy these two provisions about dead ship doctrine out of American law reports and out of American jurisprudence. You can see how ALR is more article-based and how AMJUR is more like an encyclopedia entry. But look what happens when I ask Westlaw to give me a citation in ALR. It skips the author name and the article title completely, skips the use of small caps, and writes out a full parenthetical where the year would go. Even in AMJUR, the use of small caps for the abbreviation is missing, and the subject title isn't italicized. If you were writing this citation for an article, you'd have to do a lot of editing, and in the case of ALR, you'd have to go back into the source to get the author name and the article title. So be careful using Westlaw's citation copy tool as a shortcut. So let's fix these citations. There, that's better. Now these have both been corrected for use in a law review article. Keep in mind that the use of small caps and italics will be different if you are citing in a brief or memo. Always check the blue pages for the differences. In the next video, we'll be going over Rule 10, which covers case law.